I am going to say this with the most love possible. I am going to energetically hold your hands as I say this to you, okay? From sister to sister. Stop being the victim of your life. It is not a good look. It is not cute. And stop reacting to everything like you do not have control. The princesses. Think of Disney princesses. Okay, let's take a moment and let's go back to our childhoods. The Disney princesses that were like, I'm just waiting for a prince, were not my favorite princesses. I don't know about you, but I sure as hell like the princesses that defied all odds. Mulan? That's a badass woman right there. Merida? I want to change my fate. That's a badass woman right there. Let's talk about women throughout history that defied the odds. Grace O'Malley, the pirate queen of Ireland. That woman was a badass. Her dad literally told her the seas are not fit for a girl. You know what she did? She went and became a pirate, okay? She commanded over 200 men. When she went and negotiated with the Queen of England, she didn't bow because she saw the Queen of England as her equal. How about Cleopatra? How about Joan of Arc? That woman? Oh, she was a badass woman. How about Jael, who stabbed a stake through a king's head? How about Deborah, who was a judge, a prophet, a leader, a mother? Like, there is so many powerful women that defied the odds and circumstances. And you are one of those women if you choose to be. But you need to stop blaming your parents, your trauma, your past, your job, your circumstances, the world, the government, the rich, this, that, the other. Well, this is why I can't, woe is me. It's not giving good energy. Stop blaming, because every time you blame, you hand away your power. You take off the crown and you're like, here it is. I can't. I'm just a girl. No, you're just a girl. Fight like a girl. Okay, you are powerful. The feminine energy is so powerful. They had to create a patriarchy to control it. We do not give the feminine enough credit. You do not give yourself enough credit, because every time you hand your power away, and if you keep giving your power away, you will keep living a life that you do not feel in control of. But you are absolutely in control of your life. So you have a choice to either be reactive or to take action. You have a choice to blame, oh, woe is me, I'm just a girl. Or you know what? You can go fight like a girl and change your fate. But the choice is yours. And this is the truth that not a lot of people want to say out loud, but we're going to say it because we like to have honesty with ourselves here on this channel. Blame feels safe. It is so easy and comforting, and it's like just that quick little bypass of, oh, well, this is why, it's too expensive to go to college, I wasn't born rich. Oh, those Nepo babies, they have it so easy. Well, I'm not pretty like that, or I didn't have that head start. Whatever your excuse is to blame, okay? And it feels safe, it feels comforting, it gives you that just kind of quick and easy dopamine hit of why you can't, but it keeps you stuck, okay? It feels safe, but it's actually keeping you stuck. Because the moment you say, this is their fault, this is this person's fault, it's because of my religion, it's because of my parents, it's because of my society, it's because of my government, whatever your excuse is, whoever you're giving your power away to, you're also saying, I have no authority to change this. You have all the power to change your life. You are the art and the artist of your life. You are the author of your story. So the only person you have to blame for your own life is you. Okay? And you're just masking other people because you don't want to actually have that hard chat with yourself in the mirror that you are not where you are today because of you. And that's a hard thing, but you want to know something? There's also freedom when you do that hard thing. Blame sounds like protection, but it's actually permission to stay exactly where you are. And I say this with love. You cannot heal what you do not take responsibility for. Your mental health might not necessarily be your fault. Yes, you might have endured trauma in circumstances that were outside of your control, but your mental health now is 100% your responsibility to start changing. The belief systems you've got up here, 100% your responsibility to start changing. Self-love. If you have love and respect for yourself, if you are saying, yeah, I love myself, then you need to take the disciplinary action and actually start changing and actually start taking accountability and authority for yourself and being honest with yourself, because love is honest. Love does not lie. Love is honest with ourselves, and by blaming, we are lying to ourselves, and we're blocking our creative visionary channel, our third eye, the pineal gland, the seat of imagination, by delusioning of, well, it's out of my control. If it's God's will, then maybe it'll happen. No. Okay, you are God. Ye are gods. It's up to you. What do you want for your life? You have been given all authority unto you from heaven. You are called to create the life that you want, and you need to take accountability because accountability is power. Accountability is not punishment. It is the moment that you stop saying, woe is me. Why did this happen to me? It's out of my control. This, that, the other. And you actually start asking, who do I choose to become because of this? That is when everything starts to change for you. Because yes, you might have not chosen what happened to you. There might have been circumstances outside of your control that happened. You are not in control of out here of what happens and how other people interact, but you are absolutely in control on how you react to those circumstances. Because you get to choose who you become from those circumstances. And you can either blame and you can either define that experience as the worst thing that happened to you, or you can say, you know what? Yeah, in the moment, it absolutely hella sucked. But I'm not going to let that define the rest of my life, because an adventure without a few ups and downs is a pretty boring story when told. And I'm going to let this used to be refining for me. Because I think in this new age spirituality movement that we kind of got going, we got all this, personal growth, just the good feelings. I don't want to feel anything in the bad. But the bad is part of the good. Yin becomes yang and yang becomes yin. And it's in that brokenness, in that dirt, in that bad emotional state, when you go through the valley of death, when you go through that egoic death and that pain, that is actually your strength being tested. That's when you're being refined. Because you have to be refined. And refinement does not always feel good. When you go to the gym, it doesn't always feel good. But you can either blame or you can take accountability. And you can say, you know what? No, I'm going to hold on to my power and I'm going to be 100% in control of my emotions and my reactions and my thoughts in this moment. Because when you do, that changes everything. And you take ownership, you stop being a product of your past, and you start becoming the creator of your future. You cannot change what has happened. It is in the past, and so many people live from their past. They are bondage. They have been taken bondage by something that happened, and they are still operating in present day reality by stories of something that happened 10 years ago. You want respect from this outer world, you need to start respecting yourself. Okay, and blame, victim mentality does not get you respect. It honestly doesn't even really get you sympathy, because everybody has their own shit that they're going through. Genuinely. Now, yes, I do have empathy for people that are going through it, because I have been through some horrible things, so I can relate to these people. I have endured serious pain that I'm like, you know what? I can relate to you because I have a similar story. Let me tell you mine, and let me tell you how I got out of it and how I changed my life and how I overcame it. And that's, I think, also part of the journey of life, is being able to connect and have that human connection of empathy for people. But also, you need to stop being a victim, okay? Every moment that you stay playing a victim is a moment that you could be creating. But instead, you're just consuming, waiting for somebody to take pity on you. You're waiting for life to come to you rather than having life come from you. And you already have everything you need to create a life that you want to live. You already have all the tools inside of you to start bringing in the pieces that you need, but life is waiting on you. Okay, life cannot deny itself to the one who gives life their all. But if you're just being a victim, you're not giving life anything. You're giving other created beings your power, and you're saying, oh, I'm just a victim. Okay, well, guess what? Life doesn't care. There is literally, in the words of my uncle, there is a seat for every ass. There is a seat for every single ass. There is somebody out there doing and living the life that you want to live because they had the audacity and they took accountability and authority for their actions, and they went and pursued that. Life doesn't reward potential. Life rewards people who take action and accountability. Again, the bar, especially in this generation, is so fucking low. It's a tripping hazard in hell to succeed. Seriously. A little bit of effort gets you a very long way. A little bit of accountability for yourself gets you a long way. Because ultimately, your identity is simply a story. Your life is not just shaped by what has happened to you. It is shaped by the story that you keep telling about it. So again, circumstances are just neutral. And it is you who says, oh, that was the worst thing that happened to me. Or you know what? That was the best thing that happened for me. Or you know what? That was just an experience. I refined. I found some good. I found some bad. It is what it is. And I'm going to continue on. Because you are the story writer, okay? You hold the pen to the story that you're telling yourself. And whether or not you're in control, you have a false self, an egoic mind that you're identifying with. And if you're not the master of your house, then that's going to be the master and you're going to be the servant, which means you're the victim. And the ego is just going to keep spewing you this story of why you can't have what you want, of why you're not where you want to be, of why it's their fault, of why it's this, of, oh, well, that person's going to judge you. If you do that, like, you're going to be a rude person. Like, when you actually have boundaries, like, you're such a bitch then, and you don't want to be that now, do you? So go back in your little cage. And every time you give away your power, that ego, it just slurps it up, and it just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking this cage of confinement. So instead of you taking up space in your life, instead of expanding and becoming the biggest, best, beautiful version of yourself, you just keep having the life sucked out of you until you're literally a fucking doormat. And I don't know about you, but doormats are kind of stepped on, okay? They're kind of, dirt gets brushed under them. They're overlooked. Like, I don't even think I look at doormats. They're kind of invisible. Do you want to be invisible in your own life? Why are you being a B-roll character in your own life? B-roll characters are for blaming victims. A-roll characters are for those who take accountability. Are we a blamer or are we accountability taker? Which one? Which character are we going to be? Character B or character A? Let me tell you, it's a lot more fun being character A, being the diva of your own life, because it is shaped by the story that you keep telling yourself. So what story is going on in your head right now? I'm broken, I'm behind, I'm not enough, I've been through too much. These aren't facts. These are narratives. These are narratives that are giving you a story that is then shaping your experience, that is shaping your RAS perception on how you perceive your life. And your nervous system will then organize your entire life around whatever story you believe to be true. Because by your words, so shall it be. Life and death is in the power of a tongue. As a man thinketh, so is he. You create. In the beginning was Logos. You are Logos. You are creation. You create with your words. So if your story is, I've been hurt, so I'm limited, then you will live limited. But if your story becomes, I've been through things and I still choose to rise, I will still overcome, I will still win, I am a victor, that success is inevitable for me, now you're stepping into authority. And now next thing you know, reality and life has no option but to shape itself around that belief and that story. But let me be clear. Taking responsibility does not mean what happened to you was okay. Yes, there was probably some atrocious things that might have happened to you. I have been there. I have been abused. I have been assaulted. I have been molested. I have seen things that no child should ever see. And I have taken the time to go through and heal. I have taken the time to do the shadow work to heal. I have taken the time to deconstruct from my indoctrination of my religious cult. Okay, I have taken the time to deconstruct from the abuse that was taught to me as it's just normal and it's just okay. Like, yeah, you're supposed to just endure this. Yeah, this is normal. How I'm treating you is okay, because it's not. So whatever you've been through, your pain is valid. I'm not saying to undermine your pain. I'm saying to grieve it and let it go. Because you're not just supposed to live in sadness your entire life of being a blaming victim. Taking responsibility does not mean what happened to you was okay. It does not excuse the pain. It does not dismiss the trauma. It simply means you are no longer letting it define you, because there has to be a point where you start to rise. You can't just let these wounds keep seeping. And every time you continually tell yourself that story, you're just reopening that wound and you're just keeping it fresh, because that's the narrative. Oh, I'm injured. Oh, I'm wounded because this happened to me. And you're just letting life just seep out of you. But if you take the time and you grieve it, you break your arm, you wrap it up in the cast, that really hurt. Hey, but I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to protect you, because ultimately you're becoming the version of you, hopefully, that would have protected little you, that would have loved you how little you should have been loved, who would have validated you as little you should have been validated, who would have told little you that you were worthy, that you were enough, that you didn't have to earn your love or seek external validation. Hopefully you're becoming the type of woman that little you would be proud of, who takes accountability, who is strong, who is fierce, who is confident, who is brave, who says, you know what, I'm not going to let my past define me. I am going to define myself by the best that I am capable of anything I put my mind to. Because staying in blame keeps you tied to the past. When you continually blame people and you do not forgive them and just let that go. And I'm not saying you need to forgive them and let them back into your life. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying forgive them so that anger no longer keeps poisoning you. Because you live in an energetic field and that will make you sick. Holding on to blame, holding on to shame and condemnation and grieving and lies and delusions. These are all things that weaken your energy field. And when your energy is filled, that means your life force that means your chi, okay? It's weak. And you want to be powerful, right? You want to feel powerful. So you need to be honest with yourself. You need to be in alignment with yourself. You need to feel safe in your own body, okay? Which means you need to protect little you, which means you need to start taking back your accountability and power, because if you're blaming, you're not saying that you have power to protect little you inside of you, that nervous system, okay? You need to love yourself. You need to let go of the shame. You need to love yourself and realize that your desires, that your passions, that your gifts, those are things that are beautiful for you. If you grew up in a religious setting, it might have been like, oh, you need to sacrifice yourself. Your desires are wicked and evil. That's indoctrination. Get rid of it, okay? Life, the divine, would not give you gifts and passions that it did not want you to pursue, because life is ultimately you. Your highest self gave those to you so that way you had keys and clues to discover, and these mysteries to be revealed inside of you the more you got to know and love yourself. You need to take back the I am. Start speaking I am positive action statements, accountability statements, statements of positivity and abundance, not scarcity and lack. You need to love yourself. Let go of the grief of what has happened. And even when the ego tries to trip in and be like, oh, well, it's too late now. It's already been 10 years. Look at how much time you've wasted just being a victim, huh? Look at how much time you've wasted grieving. I know that was something for me. When I went through really traumatic loss of losing somebody very close to me, I deeply grieved their death. And I also kind of buried it because I was used to disassociating, from my childhood. And then next thing you know, 3 years had kind of went by and that grief was starting to come up. But then I started shaming myself for like, oh, well, it's too late to grieve, okay? Like, it's already been 3 years. You should be over this by now. And I realized that was the ego telling me a story, trying to shame me and guilt me and get me to blame myself and hate myself. And I had to sit there and be like, whoa, technically, I never actually grieved this. I just disassociated it and just pressed it down because I didn't want to focus on it, because that's how my little me, my nervous system used to regulate when I was a child. And I had to have grace with myself. So you might need to have grace with yourself and just focus and actually say, wait, what haven't I grieved? And take some time to grieve that and realize that it's okay. Cry, let it out. Enjoy the moment, let the emotions come, because a lot of times we try to store the emotions so that we don't have to feel them. But once we stop avoiding these emotions inside of us and we just let them come, then they pass. And then there's peace after the storm again. Get rid of the lies that you tell yourself. Start being honest with yourself. Start being honest of, you know what? No, it's not actually because of that person. It's not because of that person bringing in donuts at work that I'm not eating healthy. It's because I didn't have the discipline to say no thank you. I didn't have the self-love to say no thank you. Okay, what delusions are you telling yourself of, oh, what blame? Well, it's this reason. This is the story is why. Get honest with yourself, okay? Love is honest. And then have union with you. Stop fracturing yourself. Okay, stop blaming and putting all these little pieces and identifying with roles, and realize that you're already being. You are life itself. I am that I am. And all of these things that the identity, that the ego tries to get you to identify with, is not your true nature. And every time you fracture yourself, you fracture your power. Because staying in blame keeps you tied to the past, but ownership sets you free. Because when you take ownership, there's no condemnation in Christ. Christ sets you free. When you take ownership, you become conscious, you're like, no, I'm in control of my life. That doesn't define me. That story no longer holds power over me. You are free. The Spirit of God, the Spirit of life brings liberty. Liberty means freedom from restrictions and social beliefs and norms, religious beliefs and norms, and anything that your parents expect you to be or society expects you to be, or these people of, oh, well, I want them to be proud of me and this is that, the other. No. Liberty, live free. You should not be living under any sort of bondage. So any time in your soul's journey that you start having limited beliefs, or you start noticing a limit of like, well, I can't, wait, why can't you? Who put that limit on you? Why are you believing that? Where are you blaming? Because you can. Anything is possible for the one who believes. Go and do greater things than I. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to that mountain, move, and it shall go throw itself into the sea. Because you are not a finished product of your past. You are a living, breathing piece of art. You are still being created. You are already a whole, complete piece of art. And simultaneously, you are creating yourself with every moment and every word and every story that you tell yourself. And in this moment, When you stop blaming the canvas and you pick up the brush, everything changes, because your life is not something that happens to you. It is something you participate in, it is something you shape, and it is something that you become. So if you have been waiting for your life to change, this is your moment. Not to blame, not to react, not to stay stuck, but to take accountability. And accountability is not heavy, it is freedom. By your words, you will either create life or death for yourself. By the words you allow other people to put onto you, if you decide to agree with their words, you will create bondage or freedom for yourself. You will either choose to be a B-roll blaming character in your own life, or you will choose to be an A-roll taking accountability character for your life. But it is up for you to decide, and that is the freedom. When you take accountability and authority, you get to choose. And once you realize that, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, who am I choosing to become today?